Leo, Sagittarius and Aries, and the opposite sign of Aquarius. Now, that's really interesting when I say the opposite sign of Aquarius, because I'm going to start talking to you about what is actually sort of happening there with Aquarius. We've got Pluto, the planet of transformation, is sitting in Aquarius at the moment, and Mars is actually sitting at opposite sides to Pluto. So if you can imagine like a seesaw, at opposite ends of the seesaw, we've got Mars on one side, we've got Pluto on the other side. So Mars is sort of saying, I want to be the boss, I want the limelight, I want to get on centre stage, everybody's got to take notice of me. Have I told you about how important I am? And at the opposite end of the seesaw, Pluto's sort of saying to us, now hang on a minute. I appreciate that you want to be, so important that everybody takes notice of you, but I'm here to transform things. I'm here to look at things on a much bigger picture, on a collective of sort of like encompassing the whole globe, not just you. And it's sort of like a tug of war. It's like a push-pull situation. So be very careful of that at the moment, particularly if you're a Leo or you're an Aquarian. Now, an Aquarian, the other energies that bounce off the Aquarian energy, the other air signs are Gemini and Libra. So they need to be careful. And of course, the opposite sign would be Leo. So it's this push-pull situation. Yes, it does wash over the remaining 8 signs, but it's not as intense. So if you're a fire sign or an air sign, please be aware of this push-pull sort of energy at the moment. It could almost be an argument with yourself, and I mean, we all have these days, the alarm clock goes off and you think, oh, do I really want to get out of bed? I'm really so tired. I'd like to stay here. Some of us will roll over and turn the repeat off, and others of us will bound out of bed and say, look, where's the coffee? It's time to get going. So it's like that sort of situation, but it's much more intense, and it's about major issues that are happening in their lives. So I just want to wrap up the astrology this week with Jupiter in Gemini. And it's the planet of expansion, opportunity, and wonderful things that can happen in our lives now. Jupiter sitting here is trying to expand things out, expand their horizons, particularly for the air signs, which is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and the opposite sign of Sagittarius. So there could be, for those particular 4 signs, some really interesting, wonderful opportunities that could land in their lap, things that seem to come out of nowhere. Finally, you're getting recognition at work that you weren't getting before. All of a sudden, people are taking notice of you. It will wash over the other side. So if you're looking to change your job, maybe sort of slowly, but definitely start looking. May not be precisely the right time to make a change, like a job change or make a move, but it's time to start looking, because there is wonderful things happening ahead of you. So we're going to take our first caller, which is Yolanda in Ripley in Mississippi. Are you there, Yolanda?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a question I can answer for you, please?
No, ma'am.
You don't? You just want me to sort of have a little look at what's going on in your life, Yolanda?
Well, I'm wanting to know, I've been having like real bad dreams.
Right.
I keep seeing like shadows.
You can't feel your shadow, or you can't see your shadow in the dream, sweetie?
Well, I see it. It just reflects on a certain day of what happened last year with my mom.
Right. So your mum's still with us?
No, she unfortunately passed last year.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Look, sometimes when we get dreams like that we can't quite explain, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's bad things that are going to happen, Yolanda. Sometimes it's yes, it's a dream, but sometimes it's dredging up stuff from the unconscious or the subconscious part of our mind, and it's putting things in a way that it's like to get our attention. It's not necessarily a direct message from your mum saying things are all bad or you're doing something the wrong way. It's a combination of things. Yes, she's trying to make sort of contact with you and trying to make her presence felt, but at the same time, your own mind is dredging up stuff from the past, and it's trying to show you, even in a shadow form, that maybe things could have been done differently, or maybe now that you've looked at in hindsight you feel that you could have handled the situation differently. Doesn't mean something was right or wrong. Look, I don't feel that there's anything untoward here. I want to just take a moment to sort of honour your mum here. When she passed, was that a sudden situation? Was she not expecting this?
No.
No, it wasn't sudden, or yes, it was?
It was sudden. She got sick Mother's Day, found out her liver was failing that then when we took her to the hospital that Tuesday, when I got back to the hospital, we found out she had stage 4 cancer, and there was nothing else they could do but we had to make a choice to put her in hospice. Then she passed 5 days later.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So obviously, that was a very stressful time for you and the family, and quite a shock for her. So, she might have known she was sick, but she didn't realise it was that serious. I mean, that must have come as a terrible blow to everybody, just thinking mum's sick and she's going to get better, and then all of a sudden she's gone. Is that how difficult it was for you?
Oh, yeah, I still haven't dealt with it. I just push it far back the way I can, because I don't want to think about it. I just keep myself busy so I can't think about it.
Yeah, Yolanda, look, that's not an uncommon way of people to deal with grief, because we don't get taught how to deal with those sort of very intense emotions, and particularly when somebody passes so quickly like your mum did, here 1 minute and gone the next sort of thing. It's even more difficult than if you've had 6 or 12 months to prepare for it. Yeah. Not that I think you can ever prepare, but it's coming. But in this situation, you didn't know it was coming, and that may be part of the reasons why these dreams are happening. It's like your unconscious mind sort of clearing everything out, trying to say to you, it's okay, there's nothing more that you could have done. It wasn't your fault she died, it wasn't her fault she passed away either. That was just a tragedy that happened, and we now have to process it. Grief is one of those very personal things that there's no right or wrong way, Yolanda, how to deal with it. And there will come a time where you will probably visit it and look at it and find some sort of peace out of it. For now, but that's not how you're handling it, because you don't feel drawn to do it that way. So look, if you wake up in the middle of the night and these dreams are really bothering you, can I suggest get up, go for a little walk, have a glass of water, turn some music on or something, and then go back to sleep. Don't sort of lay there in that uncomfortable energy that you feel that it's woken you up. Get up and change the energy, and that will sort of help break that cycle of those sort of things. But I think it's a combination of things, of you sort of trying to avoid dealing with the grief, and that's okay. I'm not criticising you for that. But at the same time, your mum's trying to get a message through to you to tell you that she's okay. Like she's okay. There's nothing you could have done. She didn't realise she was this sick. She just didn't feel right. She didn't realise it was serious. And I think that's the message that she's trying to get through to you, Yolanda. I hope that sort of helped you and gives you a little bit of comfort there, sweetie.
Yeah, it does. So, it's hard when you got a lot of stuff going on, and that was the one you could turn to help get through it.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't have neither one of my parents.
Yeah, and that makes it really hard, Yolanda. But can I suggest, if there's really something that you need an answer on that you would have gone to mum ordinarily with, and, you would have sat down over a coffee and worked it out, talk to her out aloud before you go to sleep and say, Mum, put the answer in my head first thing in the morning. So then when you wake up in the morning, whatever the first thought is that comes to you, then that that's the direct answer from Mum. Might not be what you want to hear, but you'll know that that's her input. That, for all the busyness that goes on in our lives, that's the best way to make direct contact with spirit. And, it'll just be a thought that'll come into your mind. And it mightn't even make any sense to you at the time, but write it down and know that's directly come from her. She's always with you, sweetie, and she